How's it going? This is Keith Shingleton with SuperDoge.io. We're here with Christina Quinst. Take it from here. If you have any questions for me or need my support for anything, just let me know.
Sure, great. Thanks, Keith. This is an amazing opportunity, and I've been loving learning about the platform that you guys have, and just have been in awe about your push for charity, which is, really amazing and unique. So, I have been living in Cape Town, South Africa, for the last 8 years, and I've loved South Africa since I was in college and read some of the literature and just watched the history of it unfold. I don't know how familiar you all are with the history of South Africa and apartheid, but basically the forced removals began around the 1950s, and it basically was a white minority government took over and decided that they didn't want people of color living in certain areas. And so they passed legislation to forcibly remove people from their homes, move them outside of the city away from their areas of work, in really subpar conditions, and that move them outside of the city away from their areas of work, in really subpar conditions, and that continued up until the 90s, actually. So the communities that we work in are formed and have a foundation of apartheid and being forcibly removed from their own homes. So the foundation is very rough and very bitter, understandably. And so is very rough and very bitter, understandably. And so Havilah Collective is like that. It's a collective. So it has lots of moving parts to it, because it's not just one thing or the other. As we look at what it looks like to address the injustice of what happened in South Africa, but also keep moving forward in the capacity that we can. So I just want to paint a little bit of a picture for you of what it's like to live in Cape Town. First of all, if you've never visited, you should, because it's stunning and beautiful. And not just because you can, cage dive with great great white sharks or anything, but it's a stunning, unbelievable country. And the unemployment rate is about 35%. During the Great Depression in the U.S., the unemployment rate was 25%. In the communities that we work in, it's around 85%. And these communities are separated, still segregated by color. And I'm talking about this specific area of Cape Town where we're at. It's not necessarily the case in all of South Africa, but where we work. The minimum wage is the equivalent of $1.40 per hour. And the cost of living is the equivalent of Dallas, Texas. So where I'm at now, where I'm staying in Dallas, you can imagine if you are one of the fortunate ones, actually got a job, you're making $1.40 an hour, and the house that you want to get is, at least $900 to $1,000 per month. There's absolutely no way for you to climb out of poverty at that rate. And so where we would come in is multidimensional. First of all, how do you feed your family? How do you afford for your kids to go to school? How do you afford books? How do you afford school uniforms, which are mandatory? Where are the gaps? And so, part of what we do is feed kids, and this is probably the one healthy meal that they can get each day. So we have 3 soup kitchens that span both communities. We work in 2 different communities, and feed about 1,000 kids a week. Feed about 1,000 kids a week, which is obviously a huge need. And then we also help pay for school fees, school books, school uniforms, to make sure that kids can get in school. And in South Africa, it's not a given that you can get into school, because if the grades fill up and you don't get a spot, then too bad, so sad. Sometimes they don't have enough textbooks, they don't have enough material. So really filling in the gap where we can keep kids in school. The community that I specifically work in is called Ocean View, which is ironic because when they were forcibly removed from their homes, they were fishermen and musicians and chefs, and now they actually don't have a view of the ocean necessarily. It's cement block homes, which people are piled in on top of each other, and gangs and drugs, violence really has just taken over. So we have a couple of shipping containers that are strategically placed in the access of gang territory. So there's about 17 different gangs that run Ocean View, and so we're situated in the middle of it so that people don't need to cross different gang territories to get to us. The police will come into Ocean View sometimes, not all the time. So it really is a free-for-all. There's been several times where a gang fight has broken out right in front of our center, and I'll call the police to try to get them to come, and no police will show up. Mind you, the police are a quarter mile down the road. But I'll, drive by and see what's going on, and they'll say, well, no, there's no one to send, or the police cars are out or something. So, the criminals know this, people know this, and they don't have a police force to rely on necessarily for help. So gender-based violence, drug interaction, gangs that prey on kids that stand outside the elementary school is quite common. One of my favorite quotes is by Desmond Tutu, late Archbishop. And he said, there comes a point where we need to stop pulling people out of the river. We need to go upstream and find out why they're falling in. We need to stop pulling people out of the river. We need to go upstream and find out why they're falling in. And, we love feeding kids. We love being able to provide people what they need in the moment. But our overall goal is to not have to feed kids. Our overall goal is to be able to give parents the capacity to take care of their own families, in spite of the danger, in spite of the constant trauma, the violence, the threats, the hypervigilance that it takes to live in these communities. They deserve to be able to take care of their families and not only just survive, but to thrive. And the beauty and the brilliance and the creativity and the strength and the tenacity to survive these communities deserve to be supported, so that their creativity and just the brilliance has space to come out, to thrive. And that is our whole goal, is to be able to create a safe space where women, especially mothers, our whole goal is to be able to create a safe space where women, especially mothers, who are doing the lion's share of the work in these communities, who are constantly watching over their kids, can come and just have some respite, have some space to calm their central nervous systems. I mean, obviously, living in constant trauma is complex. Your nervous system never actually calms down. You're always in fight or flight. And it's nothing for the gangs to start shooting while the kids are on their way to school. It's nothing for kids to grow up just knowing that they're shooting again. I'm going to have to run and duck for cover. But it's not normal. And what we want to do is to be able to bridge the gap between what could be and what is current reality. And how does that happen? What does that look like when someone's making $1.40 an hour? How can you even survive that? So we partner with all kinds of different local organizations and local people when we need to bring in job training or even legal help. We've had several incidences where we had to bring in attorneys and really help defend women against some of the monsters that they have to live with. We have capacity to take women and children to a safe house. There's only one in the area, and we would love to have another one. Just to get them out of danger. But the reality is, for a lot of women and children, there is no safe place for them to go, and there is no reprieve. So our overall goal is to create a space where they can rewrite their legacy. Where imagine this, like your life. You grew up in this community. You don't have a car. A car is way too expensive. You don't have one. Getting a driver's license is a mission. I mean, it's not like here where you line up at the BMV when you're 15, the nearest grocery store requires public transportation, which are like not little, but like the VW microbuses packed full of people. The nearest store where you can go to is within walking distance. But like a lot of my women will say, they're going to go to the store. I'm going to put a knife up my sleeve so I can get to the store. That's normal. You don't have internet. You can't afford an internet. You can't afford Wi-Fi. There is no free Wi-Fi in the communities. Your phone is old. It's probably a BlackBerry. You don't have access to what could be. You can't research. You don't know what's out there. How do you extend hope to your own family? How do you even dream? So what we do is try to fill in those gaps and then work with very specific people and walk with them and their families. So we had our first high school graduate. One of our moms has been with us for 6 years. She's a volunteer. She doesn't get paid except for in food, but her son graduated, and we had a hell of a party when that happened, because she lives right next to huge drug dealers, and just knowing that they made it was a huge celebration, and that's our goal. Yes, complete transformation in people. One of our ladies went from living in an abusive situation to her father was murdered early on, and to working with a business planner and building her own business plan and going out and getting her own clients, and just to watch someone's personal transformation. It's unbelievable.
Well, and giving them the tools to do so, rather than, like you said, like you obviously would like to feed them and enjoy that, but giving them the tools to, and the strength, the confidence, the understanding that they are able to do a lot of that stuff that's amazing. Like I get all fuzzy and warm when I hear these kind of things, for sure. That anybody that was involved in that must have been so proud of. And if you guys have been going for 6.5 years, I'm sure there's tons of those stories too. So I just get all warm and fuzzy. I've been sharing on a personal level. I've been sharing with my family and friends and everything, all the content that's been coming out from the charities, and you guys have gotten some tear jerkers almost. So I just wanted to say I really do appreciate it. So I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I love what you guys are doing, and I appreciate that you're giving them tools to kind of think outside the box and grow outside of that situation that's really hard, or would be very difficult to get out of, and whatnot. So congrats to you, and thank you very much for doing that for other people. Like that is something for you personally to be very proud of as well, and I'm sure it gives you gratitude every day you wake up. So keep going. I didn't want to stop you, but I just wanted to interject with
I
that.
appreciate that. No, I really appreciate that. And I think thinking out of the box is part of the solution. Before COVID, I had convinced a lady who does coding boot camp to come and to teach some coding boot camp to some of our young guys and girls too. But at the time, I was just working with some guys, because if we can get them a job on a global scale to get paid in euros or dollars or whatever, then we have a chance of moving that financial injustice, and we have a chance of creating a different legacy for that family. And rewriting someone's legacy is part of the mission. Is what can we do to disrupt this cycle? Because the cycle will drag people down. It just churns people out and spits them out, and it does not care. And I think every one of us has a tool in our toolbox that we can use to disrupt this wheel of injustice. Easy tools like that we can use to disrupt this wheel of injustice. Easy tools, like even like we bought one of our ladies is named Isabel, and she's absolutely has a golden heart. She carries the weight of the world for her own family, but then extends her love and compassion to her own community. I don't know how she shoulders all of that, but she's amazing. We bought her a laptop for the first time because she's going to start doing some admin work, and just watching her face in disbelief, at this laptop that was now hers, but then bringing in someone to teach her Excel and even things like how to send an email. At 38 years old, she'd never sent an email. And then I get an email, with the entire emails typed in the subject line. So we're working on on really just bringing them and giving them tools that everyone has and we take for granted. On really just bringing them and giving them tools that everyone has and we take for granted. So, our hope is that we can start bringing in people to do a 1 week or a 2 week session on, hey, maybe this is how you do coding. This is how cryptocurrency works. This is how something else works. That's going to give them an advantage to where they can actually take their own future in their hands, and yeah, like I said, rewrite their own legacy.
Well, I'll follow up with something I'll talk to you about that. As far as something like that, personally, I have no problem looking at giving some of my time to do what I can for that,
Mm-hmm.
just on a personal level. So we can follow up after the AMA or in the next couple days here and figure out how that might
Okay.
work. Also,
Mm-hmm.
for that picture that was sent, so how did you guys come across SuperDoge? How did you find SuperDoge or find out about us?
So Kevin and I, so we're friends. We our families have been friends for a while, and we are always looking for like a second stream of income or something, that will kind of keep us going, because at Havilah we made a pact not to take any payment or any salary until our volunteers earned a livable wage. And so we're always just kind of like looking for different ways. And so I started looking at crypto, and I think I started in 2017. And then he is the one who found SuperDoge. And so yeah, he kind of introduced me to that.
I think if it was Kevin, I believe he heard it on a podcast then at
Okay.
Zen.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, a podcast there. So if you're chosen as the winner, what are your thoughts on what that'll actually go to, or what you'll be doing with those funds?
Yeah. Well, and one of our main priorities is to give the volunteers that have been with us for over 6 years more of a livable salary. So Isabella's one, Bernie is the other. Two moms of teenagers in the community, and just to be able to take driving lessons, to be able to put their kids in good schools, to be able to know that where food is coming from. So salaries for our volunteers is a priority, and then our big dream is to create a safe house outside of both communities, where women and children can come just for peace and quiet, and to learn some job skills, to expand that aspect, and even just have like a hot meal and have their stories listened to and be able to share and talk when there's not a threat of violence hovering over them. I just think from a neurobiological perspective, that calming of their physiology needs to be so key in both their physical and emotional healing.
Awesome. So, okay, so I got a couple more things. Again, I'll follow up with you on this, Christina, but I do have a pretty good network of everything from yoga instructors to breathing instructors to
Mm-hmm.
energy healing, things like that. So I'll reach out to some of them too, and I think I'll probably be able to bring some on board. For that one
That'd be
picture
amazing. That'd be
that the
amazing.
group of kids did that had the signs holding up for Super Doge,
Mm-hmm.
um, what's the story with them? Are they a main group, or how many kids
Mm-hmm.
were there?
Oh gosh. Um, So there's a couple different venues from where we're at. So I believe that one was in the community called Masi Pumalele, which is where Kevin runs one of the soup kitchens. So they would have been just coming in for lunch or well, probably breakfast. But yeah, so that yeah, they would have just probably just finished a meal.
Well, this is another personal offer I'm gonna make. So that was one of the most powerful things I've seen, and it really made me smile multiple times since seeing that. So I will also just remind me about this, and that's kind of the reason I'm saying it is I want to donate $500 to those kids in crypto, and we'll
Oh
figure out how to.
wow!
I will also just remind me about this, and that's kind of the reason I'm saying it is I want to donate $500 to those kids in crypto, and we'll
Oh
figure out how to start a
wow!
wallet for them and kind of get it
Oh
set up.
my
So
word!
when this takes off, they might have a good little
Oh
bonus.
my gosh. Can you imagine? They're going to be through the roof. They're going to be
Yeah.
bonkers.
Yeah, so
Oh,
yeah, I'll do
thank
that. I'll
you.
do that regardless of everything. And I definitely will donate some of my time. And I probably have a decent network that I could bring some people into that for you guys. I love what you're doing. I absolutely love how you're actually giving people the tools to do that and better their lives. And I feel like um, I'm going to be talking a lot to you guys regardless because I do want to get your guys' name and mission out there.
I
I
would
feel
love
like you
that.
guys do a lot of good and have for the last 6.5 years. So thank you for that.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you, Keith. That's amazing. Yeah, and I think the more people that come and visit, or even just give of their own resources, it's just one more tool in the toolbox that's going to disrupt this thing, and we're all going to be better. For the people that can create and can, just I'm just at a loss for words actually after your after your last statement, but I think we're all going to be better when we do this. In Zulu, there's a saying, it's called Ubuntu, and it means I am because we are. And so, you can go to havilahcollective.com. It's HAVILAH. And you can message me there, or I can provide my personal email as well. You can we're on Instagram and Facebook too for Havilah Collective, but my social media presence is embarrassing. It's embarrassing is what it is. I'm not on there that much. But either of those will work, and I can provide you with the link in the email too.
And Kevin as well as Christina are on Telegram now too. So I'm sure if someone had a question or wanted to reach out, just throw it in the chat and tag them, or reach out, and I'm sure they're there to answer any questions you have on the collective.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely.